Hi everyone, this is Neel Raithatha, also known as the Wax Whisperer. Thank you for joining me in my latest video. We have here a patient who attended with bilateral, fully occluding, deeply impacted dead skin and earwax. The patient did admit to using a cotton bud, and in doing so, they just exacerbated their symptoms. It's a common misconception that earbuds are designed to clean your ears, or at least inside the ears, and I call it an earbud when it shouldn't actually be called that. But cotton buds or cotton swabs, I think they're called in America and the States, are kind of widely known now as ear cleaning buds. But however, if you look at the fine print on the packaging, it does explicitly say, albeit in maybe very small font and text, that please do not insert inside your ear canal or your nostril, I think, as well. Growing up, my parents used to use cotton buds quite a lot, and I still remember my mum cleaning my ears out cleaning in inverted commas, cleaning my ear out with a cotton bud, and at times it was really, really uncomfortable. I believe that the use of cotton buds, cotton swabs, Q-tips, is in some way a cultural thing. I know in our Asian community and heritage, they are a big thing, and I know relatives that use their car keys or hairpins. If you ever travel to India, you will see people having their ears cleaned on the side of a street. So in India, there's little kind of taxis called rickshaws, little very three-wheelers, and you can flag one down, or they come to you on the side of a street, and the driver of the rickshaw is also self-proclaimed ear cleaning specialist. Well, I say that, but they may be really good, but having watched some of them perform the procedures online, it's a very blind technique. They do look inside the ear, but from a distance. They may have some sort of lighting to illuminate the inside the ear, but no magnification. And they use great, huge instruments. And at times you can see the person who's receiving treatment flinch or be in extreme pain. But it is a very common thing in India. I know in the Far East as well. They have almost like salons where people can go visit at lunchtime and they have their ears cleaned whilst laying down, listening to relaxing music. So, cleaning the ear with a cotton swab or Q-tip can stimulate various nerves within the ear. For example, one nerve that it can stimulate, which can also elicit a gag reflex, a coughing kind of fit, is a branch of the vagus nerve called the Arnold's nerve, and it's positioned more posteriorly and inferiorly, so the back part of the ear canal near the bottom. So I have had patients before really enjoy, and probably more in a I'm trying to think of the word, but in a sexual but provocative way, having their ears clean. They probably enjoyed it a tad too much. Also, it's not entirely uncommon for couples to play with a partner's ears. So it can provide a nice sensation for some people, having their ears cleaned. On the contrary, some people hate having anyone near their ears, so there's a wide spectrum there. So cotton buds, do we recommend it? No. You may find that when you insert a cotton bud or Q-tip inside your ear and you swivel it around, that when you retrieve it back out of the ear, there's a lot of wax stuck to it. You may be extremely lucky that some of the wax is quite sticky and it just sticks to the end of the cotton bud and you manage to remove all of it. Quite often that wax that's on the Q-tip cotton wool is just surface wax. It's like a veneer of thin wax, which may even be invisible to the naked eye when we examine the ear. So it's like a thin coating that lines the ear canal. And that wax is actually really helpful. It's there for a reason. It helps to lubricate the ear canal wall because wax is quite oily and greasy, full of fatty acids. So it prevents the skin from drying. It lubricates the skin. It helps it retain its internal moisture. Wax is slightly acidic, so the acidic nature of wax is known to inhibit certain bacterial fungal growth, can also act as an insect repellent. And wax is sticky, so any foreign particles, dust, dirt, pollen that may enter the ear can stick to the wax. And for the majority of us, we'll say about 90 to 93% of the population, earwax naturally comes out of the ear by itself. So it's a self-cleansing mechanism by the ear to generate earwax, to help protect the ear canal and to trap any foreign bodies, and then that wax eventually is moved out of the ear and replaced by fresher layers of wax. So a cotton ball sometimes doesn't remove chunks of wax. You're just scraping the veneer that's lining the canal wall, which is there for a reason. Also, the cotton buds, you can then graze the side of the ear canal and damage the outer layer of skin. The outer layer of skin is very important. It's a protective layer of skin. And if you breach that outer layer of skin, it allows harmful bacteria and fungi to colonize the deeper layers of skin to the dermis and subcutaneous layer, which can then lead to an infection. So definitely stay away from cotton buds. It's not a good practice. And again, if you read the fine print on the packaging, it does actually state to avoid using it in the ear. So the question that we often get asked at the clinic is, what should people do? What should people themselves do to clean your ears? The answer is nothing. Your ears, as I said, generally self-cleansing. The more you try and clean your ear, you can actually make it worse, just like this particular case here. If anything, you could use on a weekly basis or fortnightly basis some medical grade olive oil spray, and you instill it in your ear, you let it soak for a few minutes, and then you tilt your ear in the opposite direction to allow the oil to drain. And the concept of that is that you're washing and rinsing your ear out using medical grade olive oil as opposed to water, because water is bad for your ear. You don't want to get water in your ear because that can lead to an infection called swimmer's ear. But instead you're using a medical grade olive oil to do that. And olive oil, our ears naturally secrete oils anyway. Olive oil is also slightly acidic, so the acidic nature of olive oil, there's some research to suggest that it also has antimicrobial effects. And for some people, if they don't themselves secrete natural oils in the ear, which can then cause dryness and itchiness in the ear, medical grade olive oil is an alternative. It's a replacement. So that's the only thing I would recommend. Of course, you can't use olive oil if you've got a hole in the eardrum or you've had previous ear surgery where the bone has been chiseled or widened away like a mastoid cavity. So do read the instructions prior to using. In some cases, if you're kind of a waxy person already, using oils can sometimes have the opposite effect, sort of washing away wax. Sometimes the oil itself can adhere itself to the wax matrix. So earwax at its core is made up of dead skin cells, so exfoliated dead skin cells within the ear and loose debris and hairs. You can see this patient's got a few hairs, and that forms almost a scaffolding of earwax. And then the scaffolding, it's filled in by the oils I mentioned. So there's two types of oils and sweats in the ear. You got sebum, which is made up of cholesterol, long chains of saturated and unsaturated fatty acids, squalene, alcohols. Sebum is the same secretion, oily, fatty, viscous substance secreted by the hairs on our scalp. And also an oily sweat secreted by ceruminous glands. So these glands are same glands found under our armpits, and so they secrete an oily sweat. It's a less viscous, more almost a watery, runny type of secretion, and they all amalgamate. This oily sweat and sebum adheres itself to the matrix of the wax. So if you then put some olive oil in, it can add to that sometimes. Once you've got a substantial buildup of earwax, the drops are not really going to do much. They may temporarily just open up the wax a little bit, loosen it so sound and air can get through. But in the mainstay, the wax is still going to be in the ear. They're just softening agents. Some drops can break up earwax into smaller pieces, but it won't dissolve it. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video, guys. Take care, keep well, and speak soon. Bye.